presents the Stanley Cup playoffs. Tonight, live from the Capitol Center, it's Game 4 of the Prince of Wales Conference Finals, featuring the Washington Capitals and the Boston Bruins. Our Washington Capitals game coverage on Home Team Sports is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft, the #1 draft choice of Capitals fans. Tap into the cold. By Subaru. Subaru built their reputation by building a better car. And by Labatt's Blue, the crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer. Between friends, it's true blue. Labatt's Blue. And by Kodak. Show your true colors with Kodacolor Gold Film. And by Texaco System 3 gasoline. After 5 tanks, it gets even better. The Boston Bruins have a 3-0 lead over the Washington Capitals in this best-of-7 series. That means the Caps must win from here on out, and that has to start tonight right here at the Capitol Center. Good evening, everybody. Mike Foran's your play-by-play host, along with Al Koken. Winning this game is the only thing on the minds of the Washington Capitals. I get the impression that's all that's on the minds of these fans here. Another sellout crowd, 18,130 on hand. They want to see them get going in period 1.
They have to get going early, get the first goal, take some of the pressure that they have to be feeling. Tonight they start playing really for team pride and let history take its course. If they win one, sneak one out of the Boston Garden, then you start reversing the pressure on the Boston Bruins. But the only way to do it is to get it going tonight. They've got to get going early. They've got to solve Andy Moog. They just have to get some overall confidence in their even strength game particularly.
Let's check in downstairs right now with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. Terry, I don't want to sound like the eternal optimist, but the Washington Capitals, through this entire 1989-90 National Hockey League season, have played their best hockey with their backs against the wall. Can we expect to see some of that tonight?
Well, we have to, Jeff, if we're going to stay alive. It's a very difficult situation that we put ourselves in here, and we just have to battle back. We've got to do some things that are going to create some offensive chances for us. Simply shooting the puck at the net, getting some traffic in front of Moog. I think we've made it much too easy on this guy in the 3 games already, and hopefully tonight we can get that turned around.
How about some lineup changes? Any?
Well, there's a couple lineup changes. I'm putting Neil Sheehy back into the lineup tonight, Jeff. I'm going to take out Scott Clonendorf. Michael Pivonka is going in place of John Tucker, and I'm putting a young player by the name of Steve Malte in the lineup in place of Bob Joyce. I just feel that I have to get more from that line in particular. Bob Joyce has only gotten about 4 shots on goal, the same with John Tucker in the games that they've played so far, and I'm looking for better things to happen, and with Pivonka being a pretty creative guy, I'm hoping that the game off has given him a little bit of new life, and he can be back right on top of his game.
What about the choice of goaltender tonight?
Mike Liut is going in goal tonight, and it's a very difficult choice because both goaltenders have played very well, Jeff, and you know, I went to him yesterday before practice, and I said, Mike, look, I know it's a tough situation, 0-3, I'm looking for one big game here. Don't look at the rest of the series. We're looking for one win only, and he says, I'm ready to go, Coach. So we might need a big goaltender performance, maybe a goaltender win, Jeff.
All right, the key obviously is for the Capitals to score goals, but in this first period in particular, obviously getting that first goal, which has been the success of the Capitals in the past, I'm sure is the most important.
It is. We want to play very well, in particular the first 10 minutes here. If we can get a goal and keep the Boston Bruins off the boards, I think that we can really do something good here to develop some confidence, to get some good flow into our game so that we can attack offensively as a 5-man unit, the same with the defensive part of it, 5-man unit, and not have that big gap in the neutral zone that's been a big part of our problem. So scoring early is a key thing right now.
Good luck tonight, Jeff.
Thank you.
Let's go back upstairs to Mike Foran and Al Koken.
The Boston Bruins, after picking up back-to-back wins in the Boston Garden, claimed Game 3 here in the Capitol Center the other night by a 4-1 score. A different sort of victory, perhaps, for Boston, but, boy, their stars come to play every night.
Certainly have. I mean, they're getting great play from Neely, great play from Janney, but their second line with Poulin, David Christian, and Randy Burridge really have been getting things going. Randy Burridge is one of my favorite players in the National Hockey League. Everybody talking about this guy, too small to play. Former junior teammate of both Rob Murray and John Druce in Peterborough. A late draft choice in the 7th round in '85, the same draft that Druce and Rob Murray came out for the Capitals, and Burridge has been dynamite. A relentless worker, and he's got a great center iceman to work with in Dave Poulin. A character player, a real team leader, brought over late in the season by Harry Sinden, from the Philadelphia Flyers. A great penalty killer, dynamite checker, but his infusion of speed has also worked very well with Christian and Burridge. Burridge telling me he wanted to play with Poulin when that trade was made. He has, and they have become a terrific line.
Terry Murray needs offense. He hasn't gotten it from the Washington Capitals in all 3 games of this series so far. You could probably look down the entire roster and try to expect that it might come from certain players, but then again, there are people who you would hope would come through tonight with that.
Well, players who have to. I mean, let's be honest. Jeff Courtnall and Mike Ridley were 2 of the key players for the Washington Capitals in the entire regular season, and they did a pretty good job in the first 2 series, but they have been shut down so far. Courtnall playing out there with Truce and Hunter is getting opportunities, but really hasn't put anything on net. He needs an early goal to get his confidence up. He is a very streaky type of goal scorer. If he gets 1, he could easily end up with 3. Mike Ridley has been asked to do a lot of things. He's killing penalties, playing some good defense, but the bottom line is also he has got to produce. He's been a good 2-way performer in the past, but right now it's just been a one-way situation. And with Kelly Miller and Stephen Leach, these guys are the guys who get that dirty work done in the corners and in front of the net. And Terry Murray really hoping to get something from his third line. As you heard him tell Jeff Rimmer, Michael Pivonka back in, and this man, Steve Malte, comes up from Baltimore to play his first playoff game. He had 8 games with the Caps during the regular season, didn't score any goals, but had some great chances. He was a top goal scorer in the minor leagues with Baltimore, and during the playoffs for the Skipjacks, he scored 7 goals to lead all Skipjacks players. So maybe some of that Baltimore playoff magic will rub off on Steve Malte tonight.
Once again, here's Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. And joining us, Caps injured defenseman Kevin Hatcher. Kevin, what's the game plan for the Capitals this evening?
I think right now it's important we stick to our game plan. I think we've been doing a real good job of finishing our checks, banging up the defensemen, but I think we're getting a little bit out of position. I think it's important that we don't give up so many 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s. At the other end, I think Andy Moog's played a big part of it, and we got to get a little bit of traffic in front of him so we can't see the puck, and maybe we'll get some cheap goals.
Okay, you just left the dressing room. What's the feeling there right now?
I think the feeling is we've just got to take one game at a time and plug away at it, and just keep doing the same good things we have in the past and score a few more goals.
Okay, you as a player can maybe appreciate this more than anybody, putting on that uniform as you have throughout the season when you were healthy. And the Capitals, for whatever reason, maybe you know that reason as well, played their best hockey when people kind of given up on them or maybe didn't expect too much.
Yeah, it's been an up-and-down season. We do play good with our backs to the wall. We've done that all season long. We win 2 games, we lose 2 games. So I think we're capable of doing it. And again, I think we just got to take one game at a time.
Very quickly, what's the situation as far as that injury?
Well, I've been riding the bike and trying to maintain leg strength in my legs. And it's still a little bit sore, just getting treatments on it every day. And hopefully we can put together a couple wins, and you might see me later on in the series.
Okay, let's go back upstairs to Mike and Al.
18,130 on hand tonight, and everyone rising now to their feet. Here's Marv Brooks.
Rise and join Glenn Cunningham in singing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Dennis Morrell will referee Game 4 of this Wales Conference Final. The linesmen are Kevin Collins and Gord Brossiker. Kerry Fraser is the alternate. He would work Game 5 in Boston. The off-ice officials are from Montreal. Andy Moog gets the call and goal once again for the Boston Bruins. 11-3 in the playoffs, 3-0 against Washington. 1.91 goals against average during the playoff series against both the Washington Capitals, Montreal Canadiens, and Hartford Whalers. Mike Liut is 4-3 in the playoffs in 8 games. He's allowed 25 goals, a 3.35 average. He'll be backed up by Don Beaupre. Reggie Lemlin backs up Andy Moe. Rob Murray has the faceoff stolen by Poulin, and the game's underway as the Bruins dump it right back in. And Liut clears to the corner, but the Bruins get the puck. Now it gets away from Burridge, and here is May out to center ice. Wesley back up into his own zone now to Bork, back to Wesley. Bruins passing quickly, and Bob Rouse throws a hit on Burridge. The puck trickles back into the Washington zone. Washington is making a lot of contact here on this first shift with the Boston players. Bork up the boards, a hard hit by May. It's cleared to center ice. In across the line, Burridge chasing, but Langway rides him off the puck and clears it up the boards. And now Nick Kiprios sends it out to center. Back to Don Sweeney at the Boston blue line. He returns the puck back into the Washington zone, and Sheehy is there to take it. Both teams have changed up on the line. Sheehy has been out of the lineup since game 1 of this series, and here's a centering pass that bounces off the Bruin forward, parked in front and into the net. And John Carter gets the goal that gives Boston a lead just 53 seconds into this first period, and it comes on a clearing pass interception.
Well, Rod Langway trying to go back to his defense partner Sheehy in turn of turning around and going up ice. He's trying to get the Washington attack going. But Bob Carpenter picks it off, and he literally fans on his attempt. Mike Liut clears it away. It bounces off Carter and past Liut. And once again, the first goal of the game goes to the Boston Bruins. You see Langway, I mean, he's not even looking up ice. He's trying to get it to Sheehy, hoping he can defuse that early forechecking by Carpenter, get that commitment, and start up ice with some speed. But Carpenter picks it off, and another good break going the way of the Bruins. But their hustle forces... You force those good breaks by coming on, getting to the front of the net, and they're coming out with some speed as well. And again, the Capitals have to start from behind, which just completely alters their overall game plan.
Carpenter gets the lone assist at 53 seconds on the goal by John Carter, and that is his 5th of the playoffs. It's almost, this first goal business has almost become like a handicap in golf. Before you even go up to the first tee, they've got that against them.
Exactly right. And this Bruin team playing like scratch golfers anyway. They don't need any handicap. They're coming out strong, though. And again, look how aggressive they were. The speed of Carpenter, the speed of Carter. These guys really showing some great skating agility, and it's something that is different from the Boston teams over the years. Now they've got guys like Carter who can really play well on the road because of that good speed.
It's up to the Capitals to come back. But here's Carpenter with a steal. In across the blue line. Fires. Liut the save. Juggles the rebound, but manages to hang on. And Courtnall making some contact in there with Bob Carpenter. Now goes back for another shot at him. There'll be a face-off to the left of Mike Liut.
Once again, Scott Stevens went high, went over that red line in an effort to throw a check at Bork. Bork basically eludes it, but with Stevens caught up high. Again, the Bruins come back with a quick 2-on-1. That shot comes off the wing that Mike Liut makes the save on. Mike Liut coming in with an 18-16-4 record lifetime against the Boston Bruins. And John Carter now heading to the Bruins dressing room, but off under his own speed and moving rather quickly, so apparently just to get some equipment repaired.
It'll be Janney against Ridley in the face-off now to the left of Liut. The Bruins have already taken a 1-0 lead on John Carter's 5th goal of the playoffs. The puck cleared beyond Leach out to center ice, and it's taken now by Bork back in the Boston zone. Lead pass up to center, and Leach gets a stick on it. It drops back to Scott Stevens. Here's a lead pass out to center ice. Bork taken away by Ridley, charging in, but Peterson comes up with it now for the Bruins. Back to Raymond Bork. Bork clears it up the boards. And it's sent out to center ice now for Neely. Cam Neely turns back to his own line and lofts the puck to Peterson. Alan Peterson ahead to center. Rouse puts it back to the blue line. Peterson forwards it now right at center with his gloves. Leach bumps him. Play has been called with 17:53 to go in the first period. Washington has yet to record a shot on goal. The Bruins have 3 and the game's first goal.
Frustration for Terry Murray. As we mentioned, you know, it's a giveaway, it's a turnover, something that has plagued the Capitals so many times. But here, Mike Liu trying to clear that puck away from the front of the net. It bounces literally off a Bruin and past him. You can say all you want about being outplayed, but it also doesn't hurt when you get a few breaks to go with it. And I think the Bruins certainly have had more than their share in this series, while the Capitals certainly had plenty of the breaks going their way against New Jersey and the New York Rangers.
Neely is hit by Langway. Leach comes back to get the puck. And now Steve Leach. A dangerous pass. Ridley got a piece of it, but the puck centered off Janney, and it bounds all the way back to center ice. Beers drives it on into the Washington zone. Leach tries to continue the puck out to center ice and gets the job done. Wesley to play it back in his own end. Bruins leading 1-0. We're just underway with the game. There's a lead pass out to center ice. At the line is Bob Sweeney. Charges to the net. Liut plays it along to the corner, and now Langway along the sideboards has it taken away by Prop. He centers. And right there was Neely, but he fanned on his shot attempt. That was a perfect setup for Neely in front of the goal. Now Langway moves it ahead to Leach. Out to center ice. Kelly Miller on the right wing. Miller cutting in. Tries to get around the defense and centers it around Galley. No Capitals there. Comes back to the point. Here's Kent Painter. Centers it. And it's cleared from the goal mouth by Bob Sweeney. Back into the corner again. Ridley back to take it. Mike Ridley for Washington. Has it poked clear, and it's sent all the way out of the zone and all the way back inside the Washington end with 16:35 to play in the first period. Lead pass to center. Steve Malte out there for a shift now, and he is hit. Sweeney back, and Malte gives him a shot in the corner. Now Galley bumping Pavanka. Pavanka on his backhand. Sent it right through the goal mouth, out of the reach of Bob Rouse. Rouse hangs on in the corner and roughs up the Bruins' Dave Poulin in the process. The puck is taken by Pavanka. Pavanka spun around, gives it to Malte. He's checked by Galley, and Malte struggles behind the net. Works it over to Pavanka in the corner. Pavanka tied up on the play, backs it up. Malte reaching for it, can't get to it. And now Don Sweeney clears it out to center ice. And it's thrown back into the Washington zone. Caps still looking for their first shot on net. Here's Bob Rouse to center. Murray dumps it in. Handled at the side of the goal by Moog. He leaves it for Bork. Ray Bork up to Bob Carpenter. Carpenter across the blue line. Carpenter coming on the left wing. Or the right side, rather. Stops and now centers it, and a shot on net. Save made by Liut. And he finally finds the rebound to hang on. Liut holding the Bruins at bay, but they lead in this game 1-0.
The Tour de Light is rolling across America.
Where's Woody?
And they might be coming to your town with lots of instant prizes. If a Miller Lite biker spots you holding a Miller Lite, you could win up to $10,000 and a Raleigh bicycle. So pick up the less filling beer that really tastes great, and you might pick up $10,000 as the Tour de Light races across America.
One area where the Caps really have got to straighten themselves out. They've got to start standing up better at the blue line, Mike. Right now, that Boston speed is driving them off the line. Look, Bob Carpenter. Look how far back everybody is. Stevens, Sheehy. Look how far back they are. I mean, nobody even comes close to Bob Carpenter until he's down there by that face-off dot, by that hash mark there. You've got to make some contact and stand up to these guys right there at the blue line and force them to give up the puck earlier than that. Something the Boston Bruins are doing very, very well.
Bork shot blocked, and it's sent over to Carpenter, and he dumps it back inside the Washington zone. Liut leaves it there for Scott Stevens. Here's Stevens, sends it ahead on the right wing for Jeff Courtnall. Courtnall tripped up at the blue line by Peterson. The puck cleared by Bork out to center. Neil Sheehy dumps it back into the corner. Bork is in to play it. Over to Peterson. He gives to Carter, now to Bork, up ahead on the right wing. Breaking down the right side is Bob Gould, the former Capital. He throws it into the corner. And Carpenter's there. Gould bumped by Hunter. Gould and Hunter, good friends when Gould played here in Washington, and Carpenter now struggles with Hunter. Out comes Jeff Courtnall to center ice. Gets across the blue line, drops it off. John Druce, a slap shot. Knocked down by Andy Moog right in front of the net. He gives it over to Carter. John Carter stick handles to center ice. Flips it across the line, back inside the Washington zone. And here is Langway with it behind the net. Rod Langway off the boards and clears it all the way down. This will be icing against the Capitals. And as Bob Beers goes back to touch the puck, there's the whistle. And the faceoff comes back into the Washington zone. Bruins lead 1-0. They've outshot the Caps 4-1.
Announcing the Subaru Spring Training Program. Fans, now's the time to drive home a Subaru like the Legacy. With a power-hitting 16-valve, 130-horsepower engine, the options of civilized four-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes. You can save up to $1,500. That baby is out of here. Factory-to-dealer cash incentives on selected models mean you could save up to $1,500 on the Subaru.
It took the desperation Capitals almost 6 minutes to get their first shot on goal. A drive by John Druce. Bob Carpenter, the former Capital, has had 3 of the first 4 Bruins shots. Picked up the assist on the John Carter goal. It stops a streak of former Capital scoring the first goals of hockey games. But the former Capital Bob Carpenter, who was one of those goal scorers in an earlier contest, does pick up the lone assist.
Centering pass cleared by Rob Murray out to center ice and back to the Boston line. Chipped by Beers out to the center line. Now Langway takes it in neutral ice, drops it back to Calle Johansson. Steve Malte, stopped by Burridge. And now here comes Johansson across the line, left wing side. Pivonka tries to center it. Right in front, it gets away from Berglund. Back to the point. Malte into the corner, throws it behind the goal. And up the boards now comes Burridge on the left wing. Burridge for the Bruins, 3-on-3. At the blue line, poke check by Pivonka. And taken back by Kent Painter. Painter to center, drives it inside the Boston zone. Moog clears it up the boards for Burridge on the left wing. He's checked by Alnay. Rob Murray gets across the line, into the corner, centers it from Christian. Oh, and May had a quick wrist shot. He deflected that right on goal, but Moog had the save. Now Rouse a drive, up high off the glass. The Caps are buzzing in the Boston zone. Slap shot, blocked by Moog. And Murray was tied up with the Boston goaltender right in front of the Bruin net. Cleared all the way down, and Kent Painter ahead to center ice. It gets away from May back into the Boston zone. Here is Sweeney to get it. Don Sweeney for the Bruins. Left side for Prop. Back to Sweeney. He works to the center line. Inside the Washington zone. Centering pass for Neely, taken away by Scott Stevens. Now Ridley out to Leach. Inside the zone for Kelly Miller. Miller goes into the corner for Leach. He's checked by Neely. Works it behind the goal. Now Leach into the corner. Up the board. Steve Leach back to Mike Ridley. Ridley checked by Bork on the play. Don Sweeney hangs on. Ridley throws it into the corner, but right to Janney. And Janney easily clears it out to Neely at center ice. Now to center for Ridley, who takes it away. Led across the blue line. And Miller again has it stolen. Back and forth this game goes, and here comes Janney on the shift. Right side, a shot, blocked by Scott Stevens. Rebound, left at the side of the net. And Liu tries to bat it away. Now it's played up the boards for Kelly Miller. Miller works to his own line, up to center for Steve Leach. And Leach pumps it right back into the Boston zone. Very intense shift. Now changes up as new players come out for both the Capitals and the Bruins. Here's Wesley, the Washington line. Rod Langway bats it away in midair, and Bob Gould takes it out at center for Boston. Now stolen by Courtnall. Right side, Bruce a slap shot wide of the net. And it's out of the zone past Courtnall. Langway continues on into his own end of the rink to get it. 11 minutes, 12 seconds to play here in the first period. Washington has 3 shots on goal, Boston with 4, and the Bruins leading 1-0 on a goal by John Carter. Again, Galley dumps it inside the Washington end. Here's Langway behind the net. Rod Langway eases it ahead for Courtnall. He works to center, gets across the blue line. Back passes to Johansson, trying to center it, but Galley's there with a block. Now taken behind the net. Don Sweeney loses control. Druce in front, and Courtnall couldn't find the puck. It was lost in his skates. And back comes John Carter now for Boston. The Bruins with a 3-on-3 attack. Carter throws it across the line, back inside the Washington zone. Painter is there to come back for the Capitals. Both teams again change up the lines. Here's Rouse on the right wing. Bob Sweeney takes it away. He looks for Hawgood, but it's cleared by Painter, and out on the left wing for Malte. Thrown into the right wing corner of the Boston zone. Al Peterson back to get it for the Bruins. He's hit on the play. Tim Berglund in to throw a check. Sweeney ties up. Bob Sweeney giving Berglund a shove. The puck worked over to the other corner. And now Lyndon Byers has it for the Bruins. He bounces it off the boards to center ice. Taken there by Bob Rouse. Rouse throws it on inside the Boston zone, and Al Peterson back to get it. Up the right wing, Malte steals. Clears to the corner for Pivonka. Back to Malte. Off the side of the Boston net. Malte pushed from behind by Bob Sweeney. A Boston penalty call coming for cross-checking. And at 10:15 of the first period, the Washington Capitals will be presented with the game's first power play opportunity.
Well, it took the Capitals about 6 minutes to really get into this game, but they have from that point on. The last 4 shifts from the Capitals have been very dominating, buzzing with some activity in front of Andy Moog, and Sweeney with that cross-check from behind, denying Malte an opportunity. See, Malte made an excellent play to duck around the defenseman up top near the blue line, keep the puck in the zone. Now, before that, though, the Bruins did come down with a good scoring chance of their own, and Scott Stevens performs the sort of work in front of Andy Moog that the Bruin defense, or in front of Mike Liut, that the Bruin defense has been doing in front of Andy Moog all series long. Great sliding block there, giving Liut a little time then to react for that secondary chance. So the Caps with the first power play of the night with a cross-checking call to Sweeney at 10:15.
Washington at 19% on the power play, 13 goals out of 70 chances. The Bruins in penalty killing, 93%. They've done the job 64 times out of 69. Into the corner. Miller throws it behind the goal, and now Bork plays it up the boards. Finally, it's sent out by Wesley, but kept in by Mike Ridley. Washington's power play clicked 1 for 5 in game, or 1 for 6 in game number 3, and now the Bruins cleared all the way down. Boston has killed off 11 of 13 in the series, and statistically, these two clubs are exactly the same in this series. Each team is 2 for 13 on the power play, and therefore each team has killed off 11 of 13 in penalty killing.
And Mike Kelly Miller getting some power play time here. Bob Joyce is scratched from the lineup. He had been out there normally with this line of Ridley and Leach.
Here's Johansson at the point, a slap shot that bounces wide on the deflection. Leach keeps the play going and keeping the pressure on in the Bruins zone. Stolen by Don Sweeney. Cleared right on net. Moog makes the save, and now it's sent off the boards all the way down by Brian Prout. Quick pass out from Liut. Bruins caught in the line change, but the Caps changing too. Here comes Courtnall across the line to Hunter. Dale Hunter sweeping it in. Gives to John Druce. Druce sends it toward the goal, but Bork clears it. Back to the point. Stevens keeps the puck inside the Boston zone. Now Raymond Bork flipping outside the zone and all the way down the ice. The short-handed Bruins have 38 seconds left on the Bob Sweeney penalty call for cross-checking. Boston leads 1-0. Caps on the power play. Here's Stevens, left side for Hunter. He gives it to Druce. Druce walking in front and has it taken away by Carter, who banks it off the boards back to center. Scott Stevens for Bob Rouse. Dumps it into the left wing corner. Hunter's in after. Druce makes a play to Hunter. Behind the goal to Courtnall. Courtnall back to the point for Bob Rouse. Left side. Here's Johansson with it. He fires to Courtnall. Centers the puck. And it's not taken there by either Druce or Hunter in front. The puck was in the air, and they couldn't settle it down. This will be an icing call as the Bruins clear it all the way down. Once Bob Sweeney is back, they're at full strength. So we'll have a face-off back inside the Boston zone.
Now how am I going to get there? It'll be great to see the guys again. I wonder if they'll all show. I just gotta get there. I'm trying to make my way back to the Brackendale River.
Friends deserve the best.
This is great. They all showed up.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
What took you so long?
I had a little car trouble.
Between friends, it's true blue. Labatt's Blue.
Eddie Moog only after facing a shot on that Capital power play. Bruins again doing a nice job of clogging things up in front. And just so many little things. That little cross-ice pass to try and set up Courtnall on the one-timer just failing to click. things that in better times, more confident times, would have resulted in a goal for the Capitals, but they're just not getting the execution that they had during the first 2 rounds of the playoffs and at many times during the regular season.
Langway back at the left point, along to Alan May. And it's cleared outside the line to center ice, and Sheehy is there to get it. Now he dumps it on inside the Boston zone. This will be an icing call unless Kyprios gets there first. He and Wesley collide. And we finally get a whistle, but it comes from Dennis Morrell. Possibly one of the linesmen whistles not operating there. I did not hear a whistle from Kevin Collins, but the call is icing, and the faceoff will come back inside the Washington zone with 7:21 to go in the first period.
Well, you know, this entire line, Nick Kyprios, Rob Murray, Alan May, certainly doing the job you want from your fourth line. Any points you get would be a great bonus, but they have certainly played, I think, right there at their capabilities, doing the things that Terry Murray wants them to do. It's the other lines that are really not clicking the way they should be. What you want out of this line is forward-checking pressure, hitting, some solid work, some good face-offs, and some defensive play from Rob Murray, and they are getting that, are the Capitals, from this fourth line. With Kyprios and May and Murray doing so much of the big hitting for the Washington Capitals. But you're getting that from your fourth line. It's the other 3 lines right now that aren't delivering for the Washington Caps.
Face off to the left of Liut. 1-0 Bruin lead. The shots are even at 4 aside. Here's Ridley bringing the draw over to Sheehy. Sheehy checked on the play by Janney, and now Neely tries to clear it. Set right in front of the net. There's Ridley to steal. Washington is a 3-on-2 break. Here's Miller in across the line with Leach. Miller coming on, looking for Ridley. Can't get it centered. A key block there by Beers. Bob Beers getting his skate in the way. And now a hand pass forces a whistle and a face-off inside the Boston zone with 6:59 to go in the first period.
And you see how nicely the Bruins played that 3-on-2? Look how they keep everybody pretty much to the outside. Right there, Bob Beers continues to keep the puck carrier to the outside. Finally gets a little help once the man cuts in towards the middle. That's the way you want it on a 3-on-2. Keep those guys out. Don't give them any clear opportunities. And Bob Beers, a rookie who played his collegiate hockey at the University of Maine and certainly has played better as the playoffs have gone on, getting more and more confidence, playing out there with Glenn Wesley. And a very nice duo with Glenn Wesley, a +6 in the 3 games played so far.
Scott Stevens back into his own end now for Washington. The Capitals trailing the Bruins 1-0 the score. Here's Leach. Starts out up the left wing side and has it taken away. Janney has it cleared by Stevens on the right wing. Too far for Leach into the corner. He and Peterson collide on the backboard. Bork gets pushed over. The puck is under those players somewhere, and finally we hear a whistle as Leach and Bork were on the bottom of the pile with the puck underneath Ray Bork.
Guy who was so pumped up at the start of this series, got it going in Boston Garden, back in his home area, grew up in Lexington, Massachusetts, played his high school hockey at Father Manignon High School in Cambridge, right across the river from Boston. Stephen Leach had a little bit of success for a couple of regular season games where Stephen Leach had popped in some goals. One where he got an early goal, then got a high sticking penalty and was out for the rest of the afternoon. But, you know, he really felt that he could get something going in this series, but this entire line of Ridley, Leach, and Miller just have been unable to get things working their way.
Good steal by Scott Stevens, leaping in the air to bring it down with his glove. Pass ahead to Drews. Now Courtnall dumps it inside the Boston zone. Alan Peterson on the backboards behind the net. Sends it off the glass out to neutral ice. Drews has it stolen. Poulin and Rouse collide right at center. Right in front of the penalty box. Drews hangs on, and Burridge finally has it frozen. Now Rouse gets a shove from behind by Poulin. Peterson steps in. Dale Hunter gets a punch to the face from Burridge, and Hunter wants to come back. And boy, the Bruins are going to take every opportunity to go after Dale Hunter. And now another one breaking out as Jeff Courtnall is getting involved here. And Hunter, now Courtnall tripped up by Burridge. We're going to have penalties. And Scott Stevens wants to go after Alan Peterson now and is challenging him. And you can really tell that both teams are reluctant to actually go ahead and drop the gloves. In fact, in many ways, all this pushing in the face reminds me of the way college hockey games look nowadays with those face shields. You see more punches to the face, but nobody drops the gloves to fight because they know they're out of the game if they do. And there you have a good look at some of the facial injuries. There's Peterson with that big swelling in the eye. Now Peterson comes out of the penalty box.
Well, we're waiting to see what the calls are, but before that, Scott Stevens made a terrific defensive play. You wouldn't find too many out there. This looks like one of these Steve Finley catches in the outfield. Almost pulling a home run back over the fence. Great play by Scott Stevens. That could have dropped down where Burridge would have had a breakaway. Randy Burridge and Dale Hunter are the two guys that are in the penalty box now. Those are the calls from Dennis Morrell, coincidental minors for roughing at 14:05.
I think we could have used two more in this circumstance, Al. You had a lot of people getting punched in the face down there. You're only going to see some retribution. Those players are going to come back and try to even up the score. They would have been better off cooling off in the penalty box. One more for each team, I would think.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Mike, and I would agree with you also in the fact that I keep expecting at any moment the Bruins just to say the hell with this restraint business. I'm not going to take it anymore, and the Capitals obviously needing to try and stir things up with whatever way possible. And as we said, public enemy number one in Boston right now is Dale Hunter.
Here's Carter turning and can't clear it. Christian bowled over on the play by Rob Murray. But back comes Carter, 3-on-2. Sheehy and Painter are the two blue liners. Here's Poulin, checked by Rob Murray, who hustled back. Great job of back checking there by Rob Murray. The puck cleared all the way back inside the Boston zone. Cleared up the boards on the left wing, and Poulin is there to take it, but it's across two lines, an offside pass against Boston. We're down to 5:21 remaining in the period. Well, Mike Milbury has preached restraint, discipline, turning the other cheek all along, and many people thought that the Montreal Canadiens were not successful. How could the Washington Capitals be successful in that style? I have to admit, I was wrong. I thought they could. I thought Washington would do a better job of playing the physical game. I thought the Bruins could not turn the cheek to the Washington Capitals, but they have certainly done that.
And I also have got to give a lot of credit just to the Boston defense overall. As much as the Caps have tried to wear them down, now they didn't get the hitting game that they wanted to probably established as early. Could have used more of it game one and game two, but they certainly started battering people around, and yet this Boston team is not making the same sort of panicky giveaways that the Caps forced the Devils and the Rangers into. I mean, guys like Gary Galley and Don Sweeney, smaller guys getting rattled all the time, and yet they still are standing in there. Know they've got people coming on top of them, but they're staying there and they're making the play. They're standing strong and tough in front of Andy Moog. I've got to give a lot of credit not only for the overall discipline of the Bruins team, but also just in the regular, clean, solid hits that they're getting from the Capitals. It's not really affecting them. They're ready to go.
Here's Berglund. He goes to Plavanka. At the blue line, it's taken away, and Hawgood starts back for Boston. Out to center ice now for Bob Sweeney. Here's Sweeney, a drop pass. Byers centers it, and Sweeney fires, but Liut makes the stick save. Now Plavanka behind the net. He starts out. Right wing pass. Knocked down by Berglund at center. Don Sweeney can't stop Berglund. He pushes the puck on in, but Galley has it for the Bruins. Lead pass ahead to Janney. Janney across the blue line. Centers for Hawgood. He fires, and Stevens with a block. Rebound. Sent right across the goal mouth. Neely was held up by Kelly Miller. Slap shot from the point, blocked by Liut. Stevens hangs on to Hawgood in behind the goal. Miller in to try and force it away from Neely. He does, and stick handles out to center. Now here's Ridley. Right side, Steve Leach. And Leach puts it up off the high glass behind the net. Now Miller. Taken away by Craig Janney of the Boston Bruins. Up to center ice. Janney, drop pass. Wesley walking in. Back to Janney, but it's behind him. Centered and taken away by Leach. Leach out to center ice. Wesley turns and fires. That struck Rouse right in the shoulder. He was right in front of Mike Liut, who could not see that puck coming in. Bork is back to take it. Over to Alan Peterson. Peterson for the Bruins. Back to the Washington line. Bob Gould into the corner. John Carter over to take it now for the Bruins. Carter off his skate. Hustles in. Rouse knocks him away. And Bob Rouse starts back for the Capitals. Here comes Rouse to center ice. Flips it across the line for Courtnall, too far, and Bork is there to get it. Ray Bork. Jammed up by Bruce. Now Courtnall walking in, has his stick knocked away, and Bork clearing it up the boards for Carpenter. Courtnall and Carpenter tie up. Carpenter taking a swing at it. Courtnall hooked him off the puck. Back to Rod Langway. Left side pass, Courtnall. Flip to the line for Pavanka. Carries it in, throws it behind the net. Bruce over to get it. Moog slows it up and now tosses into the corner. A high hit from Courtnall. He's going to get an elbowing penalty for going after Poulin. Courtnall came in high with the elbow on Dave Poulin, and he's sent to the penalty box. The Bruins have the power play at 17-12 of the first period.
Hey, guys. Look what I found.
To protect the members of this household, every smoke alarm gets a Kodak Ultralife battery. Kodak Ultralife batteries last up to 5 years in smoke alarms. In fact, because they're made with lithium, they last twice as long as any other batteries in the world. If they're good enough for this household, shouldn't they be in yours?
Yes, 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 yes.
The first Bruin power play of the evening comes with the elbowing call to Jeff Courtnall. That's how he comes up high on Dave Poulin. Dave Poulin dropping his head for a moment. Courtnall almost leaving his feet to deliver that elbow in there. Poulin, you see, wearing the face shield, and he had never worn one in his career until he came to Boston, when in the span of 6 days, he got 16 stitches with one cut, got a couple teeth loosened, then got his nose partially broken. So he decided it'd be best for him to put that face guard on.
Once you put them on, as in that instance, I think that face shield is like a target. Players are going to hit you all the time. They know that you're not going to get hurt. At the point, here's Galley. Centering pass goes wide, and Ridley now takes it back. And Ridley clears out to center ice. Kelly Miller across the line. Neely bumping Miller, and Galley starts it ahead to Janney. Janney to the blue line, gives it to Prop. Prop's wrist shot, stopped by Liut, and Stevens has it in behind the goal. Neely throws a hit at Stevens, but misses, just as Scott Stevens clears the puck up into the seats.
Great series continuing for Cam Neely. He's had 3 goals, 4 assists, with a goal and an assist coming in the win Monday night. And I guess one of the real keys, Mike, in the 3 games so far, the big, tough, rugged Cam Neely, only 2 minutes in penalties. He is example number 1 of how the restraint in the regular season has paid off. The Bruins, the least penalized team in hockey, Neely cutting his penalty minute down dramatically from 190 to 119, while his goals go up to 55 this year.
Here goes Berglund to the corner inside the Boston zone, has it taken away. Neely starts back on right wing. Neely shifts back into his own zone, and here's Hawgood ahead on the right side now for Neely. Into the blue line of Washington. Ties up with Scott Stevens, feeds it over to Janney. Here's a shot. Hawgood's drive knocked wide by Liut. Now Janney in the corner, puts it behind the goal. Hawgood has it back of the net, centers it. They score. Berglund checking Neely, but Neely firing low on the stick side. The Bruins take a 2-0 lead. Power play goal with Courtnall off the ice for elbowing.
Well, Cam Neely started that entire exchange coming into the zone. Scott Stevens had him lined up for a hit. The two of them collided, and it was Stevens that went flying. So the Bruins keep that puck in the zone. And once again, watch the work behind the net. Cam Neely just getting himself into the slot despite being checked, because he's got some great people to work with. Prop sailing it out to him. And a terrific play. Look at the way everything works here. Now, this is Hawgood, Hawgood, who comes flying down from that point. Just a great play. If it's not Janney coming behind the net, it's Hawgood. And Cam Neely knows simply get to that slot area. Strong guy and Tim Berglund on him. But you see the strength in 2 ways displayed by Cam Neely. The bump against Stevens to keep that puck alive initially. And then fighting off a very strong Tim Berglund to snap that power play shot home.
Hawgood and Janney assisting on Neely's power play goal. Neely's 11th goal of the playoffs at 18:42. Caps dump it back inside the Boston zone. Cleared up the boards now by Hunter. To the point it goes. Here's a shot by Johansson. We're in the final minute of play in the period. And the puck cleared back to center ice for Langway. Langway dumps it in rink wide. Now Wesley off the boards and all the way back into Washington territory as Langway goes back to get it. Lead pass. John Druce across the line. Fakes the shot. Drops it off Johansson. Back to Druce. He centers it. Korknall turns and throws it into the skates of Bork. And it's played back to center ice. Here comes Burridge down the left wing. Drop pass. Blocked by Johansson. Now a shot. Knocked down in front is Burridge. As Liut is able to fend him off, and Korknall comes back for Washington. To Dale Hunter. Over to Kent Painter. Into the corner, Bob Gould ties up with Korknall. Alan May in there. Played behind the net. Off the boards and out to center. Painter has to go back and chase it, but there's the end of the period. The Bruins outshoot the Washington Capitals 9-5 during the first period, and they lead on the scoreboard 2-0. Goals by John Carter and Cam Neely have given the Bruins a 2-0 lead after 20 minutes of play. More live exclusive hockey coverage coming your way right after these messages on the Home Team Sports Television Network.